The morning mist clings to the windows of a low-beamed cottage where soft light from a dying candle flickers against clay-spattered walls. Outside, the world is still hushed, and inside the only sound is the slow creak of a stool as a figure settles into place beside the hearth. A potter, hands already dusted with yesterday's earth, warms his fingers near the coals, then turns toward the spinning wheel where a lump of clay awaits. His motions are unhurried, almost ceremonial, a quiet rhythm passed down through time where each vessel is coaxed into being with patience, care, and memory. The clay is cold and soft, and as he presses his palms into its center, it yields with a pliant whisper. Around him the workshop smells of damp earth and ash, aged timber and something faintly herbal, a sachet of dried rosemary tucked among the firewood. The room is filled with quiet relics of the craft, shelves lined with bowls still drying, brushes resting in faded cups, and tools worn smooth from decades of faithful service. There is no rush here, no demand but the one his own heart follows. Outside, the sun climbs slowly behind the gray clouds, but inside the cottage, time bends towards stillness. The fire crackles gently, echoing the calm hum of the turning wheel. He shapes a narrow-necked vessel, the lip of it curving under his fingers like the edge of a quiet smile. The shape is familiar, the motion muscle-deep. It is the echo of centuries, hands shaping earth, earth shaping life. And as he leans in, watching the wet clay catch the light, the world seems to soften, and the wheel keeps turning, steady and slow, like a lullaby in motion. Twilight lingers like a breath along the thatched rooftops of the village, the sky brushed in hues of lavender and ash. Inside a potter's cottage near the edge of a field, warmth rises from a low fire, casting golden ripples across the walls. The scent of wood smoke and damp clay mingles in the air, and the world narrows to the quiet sanctuary of the workshop, a place of hands and earth, of silence and forming shape. A single oil lamp flickers in the corner, its flame swaying gently, as if in agreement with the potter's rhythm. His wheel does not spin fast. It turns with a patient grace, matching the pace of thought, of breath, of the slow fading of day. He works barefoot, his soles pressing into the worn floorboards, grounding him to the earth beneath. Every gesture is a dialogue with the material, coaxing, shaping, encouraging, never forcing. On the work table lie unfinished cups, smooth and pale, their forms cradled in cloth. Nearby a jug of water catches the light, its surface trembling with the fire's movement. He dips his fingers and begins again, turning a misshapen form into something quietly beautiful. Each rotation reveals a new contour, each line tells a story of balance and intention. Beyond the window, the fields darken into stillness, and the hush of evening settles over the world like a shawl. The potter pauses to sip warm cider from a glazed mug, one he made years ago, still faithful, still whole. He closes his eyes for a moment, listening to the gentle sigh of the hearth, the whisper of clay beneath his touch. The wheel turns, the shadows grow, and the night arrives slowly, cradled in the shape of something handmade and whole. A gentle rain whispers against the roof as morning stretches over the hills. Inside the stone cottage, the hearth has already begun to glow, its embers fed by careful hands long before dawn. The potter, wrapped in a woolen shawl and moving with the quiet focus of ritual, carries a small bundle of soft clay wrapped in damp linen. He sets it beside the fire, allowing it to warm, not too fast, not too slow, just enough to wake the material without disturbing its natural rest. The room is spare but alive with purpose. Shelves built from old oak cradle rows of drying pots, bowls, and pitchers, each one unique but familiar, like a family of objects bound by the same earth. On the table lies a well-worn leather journal filled with notes on glazes, firing times, and sketches of future designs. Not grand, but comforting. A cat dozes near the fire, occasionally lifting an ear at the turning of the wheel or the shift of the potter's chair. The clay is ready. He presses it between his palms, letting it breathe. And as the wheel begins its slow spin, he closes his eyes for a breath, centering himself in the quiet between heartbeats. The vessel that begins to emerge is small and simple, a cup, perhaps, for sipping broth or collecting rainwater. The clay takes form with ease, guided by touch more than thought. Outside, the rain deepens, creating a soft percussion against the window panes. Inside, time is thick and still. Each motion is a meditation, each pause a gift. The cottage holds the peace of the craft like a deep inhale, and the wheel's steady turning feels like the pulse of a world long remembered, gentle and enduring. The last embers of night fade into a pale amber horizon as the village stirs beneath a veil of fog. A soft wind stirs the ivy clinging to the stone walls of a potter's home, and within the scent of warm ash and fresh clay greets the new day. The potter moves slowly through the dim light, laying kindling into the hearth and coaxing the fire to life with practiced breaths. Sparks flicker, and soon the glow begins to spread, casting moving patterns on the walls. The workshop is a sanctuary of texture and memory. The surfaces are rough where they must be, smooth where time has insisted. A shelf holds vessels of various sizes, some cracked, some perfect, all with stories etched into their glaze. The tools are simple: a wooden rib, a wire cutter, cloths dampened from yesterday's work. He picks them up in turn, his fingers knowing each by touch alone. At the wheel, a fresh mound of clay waits in silence. He leans forward, sleeves rolled, and cups the form with both hands. The clay is firm, yet pliant, a quiet conversation partner that does not rush. He begins to shape a small bowl, slowly drawing the walls upward as the wheel murmurs beneath him. Each rise and curve is deliberate, built from breath and muscle memory. There is no finish line, only the unfolding of form, one rotation at a time. Outside, the village roosters begin to call, their voices softened by the mist. Inside, the bowl becomes itself. The fire hums low, the light settles into its rhythm, and the potter, alone, content, immersed, continues to shape not just a vessel, but the mood of the day to come, quiet, rooted, and beautifully slow. The soft clang of a ladle against an iron pot is the only sound as dusk wraps itself around the cottage. Inside, the potter prepares his evening broth over the hearth, the air thick with the scent of leeks, thyme, and barley. The clay-stained apron still hangs from his shoulders, a quiet badge of the day's work. Tonight is a glazing night. With the fire steady and the room warm, he brings out the quiet collection of bisque-fired vessels. They are pale and ghostly, ready to be cloaked in soft, earthy glazes. Nearby, a row of small jars sits like ancient pigments: celadon, ochre, deep moss green. He stirs one slowly, watching the color bloom into fluid readiness. He paints each piece with care, holding them close to the firelight to catch the subtle sheen of glaze before it dries. The brush strokes are unhurried, as if whispering comfort into every curve. This is not a task to be rushed. It is a ritual, a rhythm of patience and preparation. The fire crackles in quiet approval, casting a soft amber glow across the pots and bowls. Outside, the wind presses gently against the shutters. Inside, the warmth is complete. In the hearth, the brush, the broth. He sets the last glazed bowl onto a wooden rack and stands back, exhaling through his nose in quiet satisfaction. The light flickers on his face, lines softened by time and peace. There is stillness here, and purpose, and the sense that something lasting has been touched with care. In the cool hush before sunrise, the potter steps into the kiln shed behind his cottage, lantern in hand. The air is still, dew clinging to the grass, and a faint sweetness of drying wood wafts from the stacked logs nearby. Inside the shed, the great kiln stands like a sleeping animal, its firebox cool, its bricks warm with old heat. Today is a firing day. Days of forming, drying, and glazing have led to this, a slow, sacred process of transformation. With steady hands, he begins to stack the pots inside, each placed with care and intention. Bowls nested, cups spaced for air to flow, larger vessels grounded with small supports of clay. The arrangement is art, part knowledge passed from elder to apprentice through quiet mornings like this one. He seals the chamber and lights the kindling, crouching to watch the first flames take hold. The fire will rise slowly, steadily, coaxed over hours into a deep, glowing heart. He will tend it through the day, feeding it in small, patient increments, never rushing, never forcing. As the heat begins to build, he returns to the hearth inside, warming himself with tea steeped in a simple clay pot, one of his earliest works, slightly lopsided but beloved. He sits by the window, the scent of pine smoke drifting in as he watches the first fingers of light stretch across the sky. The kiln crackles in the distance, alive now, and the whole world seems to hum in time with its breath. Fire shaping earth, shaped by hand, shaped by time, a gentle alchemy, unfolding,